David MacKinnon.
David MacKinnon.
MacKinnon!
しています。レフトへ伸びていくか、下がって捉えた、見上げた。
So, David, I have to ask, do you ever miss playing professional baseball?
You know what I don't miss? Facing nasty lefties. And today, I'm pretty sure we got a nasty lefty.
Yep, I actually had a look at your MLB splits earlier today. Not pretty. Anyway, on that bombshell, you're about to get some free advice today because, as David just alluded to, we're talking to one of the best lefties currently dealing in Japan. And apparently we have one listener who shares a birthday week with today's guest. And by listener, I mean me. And by birthday week, I mean I was born exactly one day after this guy.
That's kind of crazy, actually. But you should better be referring to him as Anthony K. San if you're that much younger.
We're joined today by Anthony K. San, who became a Japan Series champion with the Yokohama BayStars in 2024. He currently boasts an ERA starting with a 1. If it goes up after this episode releases, we do apologize. But Anthony K., welcome to Pacific Swings.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah,
right. And I just want to let you know that I have a 0 ERA in my minor league baseball career, 1-0 as well.
How many innings?
So I feel like we're kind of on the same level, you know? Anyway, so me and Anthony know each other briefly, but we played together for about 2 weeks on the Cape Cod Baseball League. Glorious 2 weeks. I mean, I'm sure it's probably Anthony's favorite 2 weeks of his entire baseball career. And I believe he played for 2 weeks, and he was on Team USA, so he left us for bigger and better things. Thank you for leaving because I was on a temporary contract. If you stayed, maybe I didn't get that full contract. So much appreciated, Anthony.
No, you were going to stick for sure.
But what was that period like in both of your lives? Because, I mean, we have to sort of throw it back to, quite some years there. You're really just starting your career, hoping to be a professional one day. What's that like?
Things were just so much simpler back then. You know, you just kind of just show up to the park and you just go play. Now it's like up 5 hours before, you got to do all this stuff. Back when we were playing summer ball, we were just having fun. You know, we were just playing. We didn't really do any of that. It was just show up, you play with your boys and, you know, just do your thing.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely simpler times. I remember it was like, all right, my to-do list is like go to Dunkin' Donuts and get a coffee in the morning and then go to the field. And that's about it. Go get some at-bats and hopefully he'd get a couple hits against the top pitchers in the country, and then you did it all again tomorrow. You know, you're just looking forward to that next iced coffee.
It does sound like a simpler life. But Anthony, I want to pivot back to, move it forward from those years in the Cape. How about you getting drafted by the Mets in 2016? First round, 31st overall. I mean, that's got to be sort of a dream come true, right? The hometown team picks you in the first round. You're a guy from New York. You get to play in New York, essentially. What was that sort of time like for you?
Yeah, I mean, it was awesome. Kind of sucked because I got drafted with a torn UCL, so I had to get Tommy John right after that. So I didn't really, you know, get to do anything fun, anything baseball related for like a whole almost year and a half at that point. And, you know, by the time, you know, I was ready to get back out on the mound, I was already so far into professional baseball that, you know, it just kind of never really hit me about doing all that.
So you immediately got Tommy John after your junior year? Was it like right before the draft, or you just get drafted, they find out that you have Tommy John, and then
last 2 or 3 starts. So I pitched in a conference tournament through like 4 days later, and then we made it to a regional, which was a week later. And then that last start, I felt something like in the middle of the game. But everyone that talks about, you know, tearing their UCL, most guys, like I've always heard like terrible stories, like they hear a pop and they know it goes. Like me, mine was just like, you know, a little sore. Something feels off. It's a little bit more sore than normal. And it kind of just never went away. And then we had to do the draft MRIs and all that. They were like, yeah, you have a torn UCL. And then tried to do the PRP shot in there
Oh,
at
yeah.
first, and that wasted about 3 months of rehab. By the time, I started throwing again, I got back off the mound, and I think my, like, first or second bullpen, I was like, "Yeah, this still does not feel good." And they were like,
Yeah.
"All right, back into the MRI tube." Got that, and they were like, "Yeah, now it's fully torn." So, underwent that, and then months later, finally got back on the mound and good old instructs in the middle of, like, November, but
Yeah.
everything was pretty smooth from then on.
So how'd you kind of mentally handle that break, I guess? Because I know for rehab for me, like I was married and we had a pretty good setup. So mentally I feel like I had an escape, but a lot of guys when they have that rehab process in general, they don't have much of an escape sometimes. You're just like field back to the apartment and it's just draining.
Yeah, I mean, it's brutal. I mean, we play pretty much our whole lives without any injuries, and then to go a whole year without playing, it's just like you're, like, missing something. So, it's just a weird process that you have to go through, and then, you're it's pretty much lonely because you got guys,
Big thing.
leaving rehab, and then new guys coming in, and then they leave, and you're just, like, stuck there knowing you're missing the whole year, and you're just like, "Well, this
Yeah.
sucks."
Yeah. And like to put this in perspective too, how good Anthony was, or currently still is, but like in college, he's a first rounder and he had a torn UCL. I was a 32nd rounder, completely healthy. This man had a broken elbow that he uses to throw. And he is drafted in the first round, 31st overall.
There's always levels of self-deprecation going on in this show. We feel like every show we just have to mention the 32nd round.
I mean, hey, I beat the system, okay? I beat that system, damn it.
They don't even have that
But
round anymore.
against all odds. I know, they don't even have it.
They got rid of that round.
Yeah, they're like, we can't have guys beating the system like that again.
No, they're just a waste of time. Anyway, Anthony, let's now move it forward a little bit more. So 2024, you decided to sign with the Yokohama BayStars. What was your first impression walking into that clubhouse?
I went in there just kind of having, like, an open mind. Whatever happens, happens at this point. It was kind of just like, we'll see what happens. And then I went in there and, every single one of those guys was just, like, really welcoming, and, they're all so respectful, and that's just the way Japanese culture is. They just welcomed you, and it was really, really great experience from the start.
Did you have any sort of first meeting with the manager? I know Mura there is the manager, and he's a bit of a legend. And obviously he was a pitcher too. So is there sort of immediately a sort of expectation for you to perform, or what's that sort of first phase like for you?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like most guys, when they come over here, that they just expect that they're just gonna come over here and dominate. They're like, "Oh, this is gonna be easy." And then at some point, whether it's spring training or in the regular season, you're gonna get yourself a nice slice of humble pie, and you'll be like, "Wow, these guys can play too." So, I think I had mine pretty much in spring training that year. I threw the ball really well, I feel like, but my first start was in the minor leagues. They were like, "Well, we're gonna skip you the first time and then, get you ready to face the Tokyo Giants. So your first start's gonna be in the minor leagues." And I was like, "Man, this sucks. Like, this isn't what I was expecting." So that happens to everyone at some point when they get over
Yeah,
here.
there's just no rules. There's
Yeah.
no rules with who they send up and bring down. Like they can just have
Exactly.
a dude that's an absolute like just been up in the big leagues forever. And like, you know what? We're gonna send you down. Like
Yeah.
it's crazy.
Yeah, it's
So-
wild. It's like just like imagine what that would be like in the big leagues, like sending down like Mookie
Like
Betts.
Judge after a slump or Mookie
Yeah.
after a
Yeah.
slump. It's like, yeah, you're just not doing it for us right now. And
Yeah.
like not doing it for us right now would be like a week of bad at bats.
Yeah.
Not like,
Yeah.
you know what? Like you've had pretty cold this week. We're gonna send you down.
I mean, following the MPV quite closely, that does feel like that's the case, right? It's like you could just, I don't know, if you're a pitcher, you can't go 3 games and maybe have 4 earned runs or 5 before you need some time to readjust. Whereas in the, even with like the Miami Marlins team that I follow quite closely.
We get it, dude. You like
yeah,
the Marlins.
big Marlins guy. But like
Golly.
Sandy Alcantara, one of the best pitchers in baseball. He struggled for months, and they just left him in there every fifth day. That would have never happened in Japan, right?
No, like you had Togo earlier in the year, have a couple of rough ones, and he's been so good in years past. And it's like, how do you send that guy
That's the
down?
Giants, right?
Yeah, Giants.
The Giants. I mean, they're on
he's like
the
one of the
next
best-
level of sending guys down.
He's like one of the best pitchers in all of Japan, and they're like, couple
Yeah, I
bad
know.
ones to start
Literally.
the year. He's like their ace, and they're like, you're not doing it. Let's go figure it out down there. And yeah, it's wild. It's just not. It's not as much of a negative thing as it is in America getting sent down.
No, it's like just part of the, all right, got to get to work. They just also don't have rules to kind of, like, if you have a certain amount of service time, you can still get sent down. Like, there's no rules against
and everyone's
that.
you still make the same salary, so a lot of these guys aren't, too mad about it. They're just like, whatever. See you in 10 days.
See you in 10 days.
See you in 10 days. How different is the pitching philosophy in the NPB than what you experienced in the MLB?
With the fastball, you got to pitch down way more. In America, those guys have a lot of steep swings, so you want to pitch up a lot. A lot of guys have holes at the top of the zone. Here, if you throw at the top of the zone, they're probably just going to foul every pitch off into the dugout until you throw the ball down. And the zone is a little bit lower too, so even if they don't swing, it's probably going to be a ball, even if it's what you think should be a strike. The zone is more rectangular here than a square. Like, and you get a little, it's like wider, but it's shorter.
Yeah, definitely wider, that's for sure. Definitely shorter. You get nothing at the top of the plate. Zone, I remember.
But
I remember
get
once I stopped swinging.
Some umpires, you'll get like 6 inches off the plate though. So
yeah. I remember just once I was like, all right, if it's above my belt, I'm not swinging anymore. And it got way easier to hit because I was trying to like protect the MLB one. So let's talk about Japan Series champion. Our postseason run, you threw 6 innings in game 1. And then climax series against the Giants. Then came back on the 4 days rest in game 6. That's old school stuff. Like, how'd the arm feel? How'd you recover? Were you just like, I'm good to go? Or were you like, dear Lord, like, please stay intact?
Well, I mean, in Japan, you pitch every week.
Yeah.
Obviously, it was short rest, but in America, that's normal rest, 4 days off, and then you pitch the 5th day. They told me, like, going in, like, it was going to be a pretty short outing regardless, probably like 5 or 6 innings max, no matter how good I was doing. We were having conversations all season about on 5-6 days because this was my first year starting in like 4 or 5 years, like consistently.
Yeah.
We were having conversations all year about what to do and like trying to keep my arm healthy and stuff. But at that point, as the playoffs were like, let's just do whatever. And then they're like, yeah, let's just make sure it's short. And if you get in any trouble, we're probably gonna take you out quick. That's what happened. They gave up, I think, 2 runs in the 4th or 5th inning, and they pulled me, and then we made a comeback.
Yeah, I mean that. I think watching the sort of BayStars go through that, and especially your starts, just awesome to watch. Like, you always find myself when it's a postseason system, you always start rooting for what is essentially the underdog in that situation. I do feel like the BayStars were an underdog, which made it even sweeter that you got there. But could we talk perhaps for a second about the way the Japanese playoff system works? Because the first time I was introduced to it, I was like, sorry, there's just a team that sort of automatically plays in the final.
Yeah,
it's and they get a game advantage.
And they get
it's
all
like,
games at home.
Are you sure you just don't want to crown them right now?
It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. I didn't know it was a thing until we got to the playoffs. So we went and played the Tigers first. All games at Koshien, which is weird to begin with. But we won both games. And once we won that, they were like, yeah, Giants started out with a 1-0 lead, and you have to play every game in the Tokyo Dome. And I was like, what? I think that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard of. I was like, how do we just give a game to a team? That makes no sense. And we somehow, I think we won the first 3 games, and we were like,
yeah, you did. Yeah.
We're up 3-1.
Which then it begs the question that, like, they're sitting on their butts doing nothing for so long. It's like, Yeah, like you gave them a game, but they haven't done anything.
Go to like their farm like instruct league that they have, and they play games over there, and it's like you also have that break where we have like those rainouts of like 2 weeks before the playoffs start, and they play in
That
the
was weird.
dome, so they have less games to make up. So they have even
Yep.
more time in between last playing. And first 3 games, you could tell that they were clearly off, and they didn't have their timing and normal lineup that they usually were like.
I mean, the efficiency of the Japanese culture, like it's wildly efficient over there. They have some top tech things. They got top everything, really. That system for playoff baseball and the end of the year schedule is not one of their best things over there. I mean, I think we can work on that.
So much time.
So much time just sitting there. Like I remember our regular season didn't end till like October 11th or 12th. Yeah, it was crazy. They just keep playing games, and you're just sitting there waiting, especially for the first place team. You might have like 3 weeks off.
Yeah, it's crazy. If you don't have any games to make up, it's like you're just sitting here waiting to see, who you're going to play. And
Yeah.
it's one thing that they can maybe fix a little bit.
No, but I mean, I think it's just, again, when I sort of read about it the first time, I was like, it can't be right that they give a team like a free game. Like they've already won that game. Yeah, but it doesn't exist. It's like,
Didn't exist.
Just insane. But it gets you thinking about the way certain playoff systems work. I know particularly in the NHL is the one that I don't like, because it feels like a team could perform for, I don't know, 82 games and be first place, and it's like one playoff series later and their season is just done. It feels like, well, why have you played the season to just... So I do get it, but it feels like giving the game is just way too much.
Yeah, I mean, they get all those games at home field. Like, you would think that would be enough, but
that should be the advantage, right? Yeah, I agree. But then you qualify for the Japan series, so the World Series of Japan against the SoftBank Hawks. Now, we all know
SoftBank Hawks.
Sorry, got to get the pronunciation right. Sumimasen, David-san.
It's okay.
Anyway, but their lineup stack, right? They're one of the best lineups in Japanese baseball for sure. That is a challenging series in its own right. And it gets to game 6. It's all on the line and during that game, right? Because the BayStars take a 3-0 lead, and it's like, okay, here we go. It's going to be easy little sweep, or 3-1 because Japanese baseball. And it's 3-1, and you go, okay, one more game. And then the Giants just start clawing their way back. It's 3-3. You're called upon, so you get to pitch in that decisive game. What is that feeling like for you in your first year in Japan?
Yeah, I mean, it was really cool. I mean, that's what you grow up dreaming to pitch in, right? Like game 7, like you want the ball in that situation, and it wasn't my best outing, but I kept the team in the game, and they were able to tie the game and then eventually win it in the top of the 9th. We went ahead and were able to celebrate.
I mean, that's every kid's dream. We all dream of, I don't know, making a big play, making a big swing, making a big pitch, or getting a pitch in a conclusive game in a playoff series, So it's pretty cool. You don't know where your career is going to end up and where you'll find the most success and everything, but you're having a great 2025 so far. What's been clicking for you this year to like just continue your, I don't know, dominance, I would say, because sometimes the league can adjust and try to figure some stuff out. What's clicked for you, and maybe what didn't click in the States as good as, and then you came to Japan, and is it just you got better, you made adjustments, or just what do you think?
There's so many different adjustments and everything that I've made over here compared to America. I am like 100% a completely different pitcher here than I am over there. I mean, first off, just being a starter again as like the number one reason why I wanted to come over here. They were like the only team offering me to be able to start. I mean, the Pirates were too, but it was minor league deal. And now you know how that goes. You play the up and down option game and all that. I was like, I don't want to do that. I want to be somewhere for at least a year where I can just, be there consistently. So that was the biggest thing. And then, I got here and kind of struggled a little bit, like towards the end of the year last year. I think that was just kind of like a little bit of a fatigue sort of thing. I think in 2023, I were like 50 innings because I
Yeah.
was out of the bullpen. So once I got to like July of last year, I was like at 100 already, and I was just hanging,
Yeah.
just waiting for the season to end. I was like,
Yeah.
hey, I cannot pitch anymore, but we made it through. I think they gave me like a little like 2-week hiatus at one point to just like kind of relax, and like they're like, just give your body like a little bit to recover. If I didn't have that, I don't think I would have made it to the end of the year. So I was just
Yeah.
thankful that they did that. And as far as pitching, like I've always had the cutter, but it's a little bit harder here. It was probably like 86, 87 in America, and here I'm throwing at like 90 to 92, which I think has been absolutely massive here. Keeps guys off the heater. And then I learned a two seam also. You know, I
The
mean,
Shuto.
yeah, except mine's not as slow as they throw their Shuto. Mine's a little bit harder. I try and keep it like as the same velocity as the four seam. So just to keep him off the straight stuff. And I think that's been really successful. It doesn't lead to as many strikeouts, but it gets a lot of soft contact here. And, you know, you're not going to get many strikeouts here anyway. So
No. Yeah, if you're looking for strikeouts, not
I'll just
great.
take the ground balls whenever I can get them.
Uh-huh.
And now I'm working on a curveball. I'm working on a curveball now, which is a work in progress, but I've thrown it a couple times
I
in
mean,
game.
those guys
It's been
have
all right.
those guys have so much. They have they're just so smart, you know, like just how
Yeah.
they work on their grips, and like they have so much. Just I remember the pitchers just talking about different things. And
Yeah, I mean the way that they manipulate the ball is just incredible. Some of these guys, like they have so much like feel, and their command is just unbelievable. The way that they like repeat their mechanics, it's just incredible how they do it. Like, you can't even imagine like anyone in America doing some of the stuff that they do. You could definitely learn a lot from these guys for sure.
Absolutely. And actually, that's a neat little segue into what's going to be my next question, because Trevor Bauer is obviously your teammate in Yokohama this year. Now, I've followed his YouTube channel and his vlogs for a long, long time. So I always thought they've been sort of fascinating to watch, because I think what stood out to me is just how sort of he has revolutionized pitching to a degree where he's so data driven and like metrics focused, where he's so analytical about all of his pitches and the way he breaks down his own pitches, and tries to help the next generation of pitchers with their stuff. But have you learned anything from his approach to breaking down hitters and pitch design, or have you always been quite analytical about your own pitching?
He's been super helpful. You know, you can go up to him and ask him anything, and he's an open book. He'll you know break down whatever you want to do, and you know he's given out so much advice to everyone here. It's been really good to have him here. You know, even you can just ask him any like simple question. He watches like all my bullpens in between my starts and stuff, just to you know kind of see like how we're doing stuff. You know, I was asking him about my curveball the other day. He was like, "Yeah, it just kind of looks like you know you're just like babying it a little bit, not just letting the grip do its thing. Like the other pitches, you just rip because you're confident in them and all that." And he's like, "Curveball, it just looks like you're just like thinking about everything that you need to do to make it move." He's like, just throw it, and just simple stuff like that, like just small questions you have is just super helpful. And you know, he's one of the smartest you know guys out there as it comes to pitching, and you know, you can literally ask him anything, and he's super open about it. And you know, he's been good to have.
yeah, I mean
Absolutely.
he knows so much. Obviously, I mean he's done everything possible to kind of get that edge through analytics and um just through learning all this stuff. And the fact it's cool that he just actually talks to all the guys about it too, because some guys just kind of stick to themselves and like,
Yeah,
yeah, like
that's the most awesome bit I think about
yeah,
his YouTube channel, is just the way that he interacts with everyone, and it just gives you a sort of glimpse inside baseball that fans never get to see, and I think that's what makes it cool and unique. I mean, for him, this season probably a tough season, because you look at his stuff. I mean, the stuff's all there. The results aren't probably where he wants them to be. But it's like it sounds like he's still a guy that is willing to give advice even through slumps of his own. I mean, got to give the guy some credit, I think.
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously not ideal season for him. His stuff is still really good, I think. I mean, he's still throwing 95 plus, his off speed's still there. I feel like he's gotten pretty unlucky, honestly, if you actually watch his outings. A lot of, just like bad singles, or like it's just kind of one of those years for him where it's just like things just aren't going his way, where it's like worst case happens every time, and he's still showing up to the field every day, and ready to help anyone out if they need.
And that's just like the MPB. Sometimes, like when you're a pitcher, dude, there's just some crazy things that will happen. Like they hit
Yeah.
balls where balls have never been hit before, where you
Yeah, I
can't
mean, you're gonna probably
get
give up
like
broken bats hits every
broken,
game. Like it just
and you
happens.
don't know. Like a lefty will hit a ball down the third base line. You're like, I've never seen a ball hit there.
Yeah, I
Like
mean,
I've
it just
just
like
never seen a ball hit there.
they just want to put the ball in play here, and
Yeah.
it works out a lot of the time for them. Just how they play, they're just gonna do hit and runs, bunts. They're gonna make the defense make the play, and if you don't make it, then they're gonna just keep doing it until you figure it out.
So from a pure baseball perspective, how does the MPB compare to the MLB in terms of like talent level?
It's so hard to compare to MLB because it's just such a different game. Like
It is a different game.
talent is for sure there. Like, I mean, you saw
Yeah.
in the WBC that those guys, they're good players. But I would say, I mean, the way to compare it is just like I think there's more depth in America than there is here. Your 7, 8, 9 hitters aren't gonna hit 20 home runs like they're gonna in America, but they're probably gonna hit 250 to 300 and play elite defense, and they're probably gonna
Yeah.
steal like 10 to 20 bags. Like it's just the way that they play. Like everyone's not expected to hit home runs like in America. It's just completely different.
How I described it, the better teams, it's one country's players, right? So like the MLB kind of pulls the best players in the entire world. And then Japan, like you're only allowed 4 active foreigners. So the rest have to be Japanese players. And the reality is, like the best teams, I would say the best teams are going to have 3 to 4 big leaguers in their lineup. Like guys that, like, if they wanted to go over to the US, they could go over right now.
Yeah.
And they could be in a big league lineup. And then the best pitching staffs there probably have 6, 7 between their bullpen and their starters.
For sure.
Are they gonna be like top tier big leaguers? No, but like they could easily have
Not
6,
all of
7
them, yeah.
guys between the back end
absolutely.
relievers and a couple starters. So I think like, and then every team has players that can be over there. The depth. It's the best teams are going to have a couple more of those guys that can compete at the big league level. But yeah, you only have one country's worth of players, and they do a heck of a job. What about as a lefty? Did you have to kind of make any adjustments to some of the lefties that aren't really trying to do damage, or they just kind of slap the ball?
Yeah, I think that's like the main reason why I learned that 2-seam.
Yeah.
Is that they were just fouling my 4-seam off, fouling everything off, and it was so annoying. Just putting it into the dugout, like, and they're trying to do it. Like, they're not trying to put the ball in play. They're just like, oh, I'm gonna, piss this kid off, and I'm freaking out on the mound, getting all angry at it. And I was like, I need to do something about this. Like, I need something that needs to go into lefties to keep them off that. And once I got the 2-seam, it's changed everything. Now, if I throw that, you're not fouling that off. You're either going to break your bat or you're going to roll it over. And it's been such a big difference being able to use that against lefties. It's been huge.
Yeah, that's massive.
And talking about your second year on the mound, it seems like, you just alluded to the fact that you've changed your pitch arsenal, so you're a different guy on the mound. But has anything sort of changed? Not to sound too deep here, but has anything changed within you also? Like just the way that you approach pitching, approach life. Do you feel more relaxed now in your second year?
Yeah, for sure. First year here, you just come over here and you're like I said, like you're gonna dominate. Like this is gonna be easy. Like, you just go in there thinking that you're going to be the best pitcher in the league, and then you get hit around a little bit, and then, it goes, and you're like, what is going on? But this year, you come into it, you know what you're going to get. And it's like, all right, like, I know what I need to do, and you got to have a good mentality out there. And I think last year I was a little emotional out there, I guess you could say, as I had my fair share of freakouts out there, and they don't know how to treat that. The Japanese culture is not like that, so they were like, "What is going on with this kid?" Yeah, I think this year I'm a little bit more level-headed out there, just to kind of keep everyone calm around me. So I think that's one of the biggest adjustments that I've had to make.
I mean, I think it's just a really nice way of saying, I let myself go a little bit. Like,
No, for sure. I mean, that's normal in America. Like, you freak out after an inning, you throw your glove or whatever. Like, dude, that happens like 5 times a game in America. Here, it's like, if you do that, like, everyone's looking at you like, what is wrong with this kid? All of their training and stuff is totally different than America. I did a little bit of what they usually do for training in like my first year in spring training in Okinawa, and it's just a lot of running and stretching, just not what we're used to in America. Our hotel in spring training in Okinawa is connected to like the indoor facility. I would wake up, stretch would be at like 10 o'clock. I'd wake up at like 7 or 8, and I would look out my window and guys were already hitting on the field. I would finish my day, go back to the hotel, and then they would still be hitting at like 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yep.
And I'm like, how are these guys still hitting? I mean, the amount of swings that some of these guys take is just insane.
They're probably taking 500 swings a day in spring training.
Yeah, and they're like letting it rip
crazy.
too. Like, they're not like taking
Yeah.
easy swings. They're just full swings every time. And I'm like, oh my
And like those
gosh.
bullpen arms, dude, they're throwing from far away. They're ripping it from far. I'm like, how is these guys' arms survive? But anyway, clearly having success in Japan. Do you have any goals other than a Japan Series title? Other than that, like any personal goals? Are we going after the Sagamore Award? What are we doing? What's
I mean,
the
that would be
goals? What we're
great,
doing?
but you need complete games and complete game shutouts and all that. And like, I throw way too many pitches. I feel like I'm living in the strike zone, and I'm like 100 pitches through 6. And these
you have
guys,
to be less hit. You have to be more hittable. That's the problem.
that's the
Like,
problem. I
you
think.
need to be-
allow them to hit it forward.
can you please be worse, Anthony?
Yeah, get
Just
Uh,
be less good at what you do.
I mean, I watch some of these guys like Azuma on our team, and he's going like 8 or 9 like every
The
time.
lefty,
And I'm
right?
like,
I remember
yeah.
facing him in spring training.
He's a
He's
great
nasty.
pitcher. Yeah.
He dominates every
Yeah.
single time out there. And it's like, I'm watching him go like 8 or 9 with like 10 strikeouts. I'm like, man, I'm getting like 4 strikeouts a game. I'm like, what do I have to do to get a swing and miss around here? He's
Yeah.
just cruising. It's just great. It's great to watch. But yeah, I mean, I guess right now for my goal would be ERA leader for the Central League.
5 dudes below 2 ERA is just absurd. Like,
It's ridiculous.
no, our ball's not dead. Our ball's not dead.
I was
Okay.
going over because after Cabbage hit that home run off me the other day, I was going back to see like exit velos and stuff, and
Yeah.
I gave up 2 balls that were hit like 170 kilometers per hour at like 25 to 30 launch in Hiroshima, and they were
Yeah.
both caught like in front of the warning track.
In front of the warning track,
And I'm like, dude, those balls are crushed.
destroyed. Those baseballs
Yeah.
are absolutely. Those balls should be hit about 400 feet.
I was like,
Camped.
my gosh, this is great. I love it here.
I love it here.
I love it here. It said only the pitchers ever.
Yeah. I remember hitting a couple balls. I pimped a double. Like
Are you pimping it? Like proper pimping it? Like,
Yeah, dude. I sat there and watched. It was the beginning of the season. I sat there. I hit it. I walked out of the box. and it hit the top of the fence. And I was like, I got a double still, but like, I was mind blown. I was like, that ball was hit 440 last year and it hit the top of the fence. I think it was off Mima. And then I had another one too, where it was just absolutely annihilated to center field, and the dude just went back to the warning track and caught it. And I was like, that is as hard as I can hit a baseball. And unless it goes to the left field, I had no chance this year. So.
Yeah, if you are trying to hit a home run to dead center in any
I
of
wasn't
these parks,
trying, but like
good
it
luck.
had always been a home run. Yeah,
Yeah.
no. Good luck, yeah.
There's no
And the only
chance.
person that can do it is freaking Franmil Reyes. That dude still has, like, that's how much power he has.
So Anthony, talking about hitters that you faced, is there anyone that sort of stood out to you where, because I think part of why we do this podcast is also to sort of familiarize people with all the talent that currently plays in the NPB and the KBO. Is there anyone that really stands out to you in terms of an at-bat where I wouldn't say you're still thinking about it when you're trying to sleep, but just one that sticks in your head?
Trey Cabbage one, he's probably still thinking about.
I mean, you got Murakami with the Swallows. I don't think there's any specific at-bats against him, but I faced the Swallows like 10 times last year, and every time he came up, it was like, good luck. He's working at 3-2 at bat every single time, and even if you keep him in the ballpark, he's gonna hit the ball hard. I mean, he's a freak. And then you got Okamoto also with the Giants. I faced the Giants like 10 times last year also. He hit a couple off me. He's not a fun at bat either. He can cover everything. He's really good. I feel like I have a little bit of a better shot against him just because, I feel like just throughout the whole course of my career, I've been better against righties than lefties. But he's still not a fun at bat.
No.
And then
What about Sato?
Yeah, I was just about to say Sato. He just hit a home run off me.
He's nasty.
He's
I think
really
he's the
good.
best of the three.
He's
I
hit
mean,
a
he's
home
got-
run of. He's hit a home run off everyone, so I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not even that mad about it. Yeah, I mean, he's got ridiculous power. If you make a mistake against him, he's gonna make you pay. I mean, those three guys are by far the three best in the league. Like, those three guys are the guys that you circle every time, and you're like, don't let these guys beat you.
Yeah, but it's welcome to the Central League, right? The lineups you're facing, like to put up your numbers. Like, we love firing guys up on this podcast, but to put up your numbers against the teams you have to face over and over and over again, dude, that's not easy.
Yeah, that's another thing that just
numbers.
stinks about this league is that we only play the other side once per each team, and then we just face the same guys over and over and over again.
Yeah.
It's like, I faced the Giants 10 times last year, including the playoffs. It's like, I don't want to face these guys anymore. Like, even if you're doing good against them, it's like, you think you need to like trick them because you're like, these guys have seen me so many times. It's like, eventually they're gonna see me well enough, and it's like, well, not really. You just need a pitch.
Yeah.
But
no, meanwhile,
There's a lot of
we're at the
mental
plate
games
like,
in there.
why do we have to face this guy again? This guy's
it's the
just
same way
absolutely
as
crushing
pitchers.
me right now. Like, I cannot get a hit off this guy. And
like
he's
I
up there
see-
like, I'm going to change everything I done. He's definitely expecting something
Yeah,
new, you know?
Exactly. It's like, man, I need to learn another pitch against these guys. I faced them too many times.
So, last question we have for you. Obviously, we alluded to the fact you were drafted by your hometown Mets. You were able to bounce out in the MLB a bit and really found your groove, obviously, in Japan. But if you could go back and tell that kid from Long Island, you dreamed of pitching in New York, that he'd actually find his greatest success in 7,000 miles away in Yokohama, what would his reaction be?
He would have said no way, because back then everything was going great. I thought I would have been dominating the whole way through my career, and then obviously injuries happen, stuff just happens that doesn't go your way. You just kind of just got to ride the wave of baseball. It's going to take you places that you never would have even imagined.
That's an awesome final quote to end it on. Anthony, we appreciate the heck out of you. Thanks for coming on the show, and please come back again.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me, guys.
So thanks for listening, everyone. That's another episode of Pacific Swings. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. See you next time, and have a great week, everyone.
Arigato, everyone.